Hello friends, welcome back to the vlog. Welcome back to Vlogmas. We are kind of kicking it off for a couple of days in my life. We had a little bit of a hectic week/weekend, and we're just kind of in the thick of it. This video, I edited it down so it wouldn't seem as hectic as it was. But it was pretty intense. I'm not gonna lie, just kind of so much to do for both me and the hubs. Usually one of us is a little bit more overwhelmed than the other, and we can kind of pick up the slack. And then this was just a time where it was both of us. And I also realized, if you might notice, this was 2 days between videos, and that's because I realized that my goal was to do 12 videos before Christmas and have the last one go out on Christmas Day. And I was ahead of schedule, and so I don't want to do more than 12 videos just because balance, but I also want the last video to go out on Christmas Day. So I'm going to space them out a little bit just to make that possible. What you see me doing is feeding my sourdough starter. I was starting some sandwich bread. I tried a new recipe. Well, that was like a sourdough discard recipe. We'll talk about how that went in a minute. But I'm just getting this fed. It still hasn't really doubled for me. I mean, it's been a really long time at this point, like 3 weeks. And a lot of recipes say that it should double in 4 days. Although it is super bubbly, it seems really active, and sometimes it floats. So I don't know. And the temperature, I thought it was the temperature, but I don't think that's it. So here is how it went. It really, really rose really fast, which made me feel like my dough, my starter was active because I did instant yeast and discard, and it really blew up. But I don't know. I also ordered groceries this day, and so I was just kind of getting those put away. Normally Obi will do this or at least help me, but he has been in the thick of something for work, and he is just really working really, really hard on it. And I was like, that's your priority right now. So he worked on that while I put groceries away. And I've been really appreciating grocery delivery right now. I don't normally use it very often, but when I need it, it is so, so helpful. And I've just found Instacart to be so nice. I've gotten really good shoppers there. So yeah, I didn't like the way the dough looked. It was super wet. I added some flour. I kneaded it a little bit more because it didn't pass the window pane test. But then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and bake it because why not see how this goes? And so I just went ahead and shaped it, let it rise, and then I put it in the oven. One of the things that we were working on this weekend was redoing our kiddo's bedroom. Our kiddo went into middle school for this year, and their room was really set up for things they were into when they were really young. Like, it had storage for lots of toys that they don't really play with anymore. They're a little old for, and they needed better storage for their clothes and things like that. So we wanted to rearrange, make it more functional for them at their current age, and kind of be more of what they need right now. So that is what we did a lot of in this vlog. A lot of, this is the bread. So it puffed up. I put it out to cool. And it's not the cutest loaf that I've ever made. But it was worth a go. And you'll see me taste it later, but I ended up liking it just fine. I think it is a little sourdoughy for my kiddo to like, which is really the goal. But it had a crusty top, and I did brush it with butter so that it would soften, and that worked really well, while it was still hot. I also did a milk wash instead of an egg wash, and that worked out okay. It tasted fine. But I don't know. It's not the one for us. I'm gonna keep looking. But we're back to the bedroom. So this is what their bedroom, the state of the bedroom the day I started the vlog. I started working on it Friday night. This is Saturday, and I built that dresser that morning, and I was just kind of taking some time to put the clothes in the dresser. and kind of go through their clothes and sort out winter clothes from summer clothes and get that settled. This is kind of how the closet had been, just because it's not functional. It just wasn't functional for them. And they had a lot of clothes that don't fit anymore, a lot of clothes that are not, the seasonal clothes weren't separated from each other. And so I think this is going to be much, much better. The next thing I needed to do was get the fort like under their bed cleaned out. So they had like a ton of blankets and pillows, their TV, like video game console and stuff like that underneath the loft bed. And I wanted to get that set up like on the dresser. And then I needed to take apart this bed. Obi built that desk and he built the locker that you'll see later. But he also was like, he's doing this really intense interview thing that is kind of a paid interview because you have to create work for it. And he works at the coffee shop and he edits my podcast. So he's just really busy. At this time, he's at work. And I was like, we're not going to get this done if I'm not like spending all day doing it. So I just dedicated about 2.5 days to making this happen. And had to figure out how to take apart this bed, which I probably should not have done alone because it just kind of started falling apart. You know what I mean? Like it started kind of becoming difficult to manage by myself because pieces needed to be unscrewed. And yeah, it was a little tricky. But I eventually got it done. I'm also like in this time just moving everything out into the living room area. Obi took a lot of stuff downstairs for me, and the next day I took a bunch of stuff downstairs. And honestly, this was a really special experience for me because if you don't know, in 2019 I got really sick and I got pneumonia and my lungs just never recovered. And it's been a really long journey of me figuring out what's going on with my lungs, trying to heal my lungs, trying to be able to breathe. But when this first happened, y'all, like I couldn't walk down the stairs to go to my car because I just couldn't breathe. And so my husband would go get the car, drive it around, and I would walk out the front door just to be able to like get to my car. I say all of that to say that this weekend, I'm running up and down the stairs, I'm building furniture, I'm breaking furniture down, I'm moving furniture around, and then I'm running up and down the stairs again. And there was like this moment where I was like on the 5th round of like running up the stairs and I was listening to music and I was like dancing. And I was like, oh my gosh, not only am I just like running up and down the stairs, but I'm like dancing up and down the stairs, like my lungs have just done so much healing. And I'm just so proud of them. And I'm just so grateful to have like functioning lungs, It's something you don't really take for granted, right? Unless you lose function of them. So I ended the day just cleaning up. We did, take out for dinner so I didn't have to cook. And then on Sunday, we got up and we really took the morning pretty easy. Obi did a lot of things around the house, took some loads down, and then I watched a movie, The World We Left Behind, just to kind of like feel calm enough to go. And so this is us making afternoon coffee. We did cappuccinos, and I love when Obi's here and we're doing cappuccinos together because I'll do the espresso and he'll do the milk, and it's adorable. And he had brought me a cookie home from work that we split to go with our afternoon coffee. And this is the state of the living room. I kind of love having this shot because it's just me choosing to rest even when everything's not done, still prioritizing my own peace and recovering so that I can kind of get back to it, because all of that stuff has to be cleaned up and taken downstairs. The room is still not finished and there's a lot to be done. And so I had my nice little fika moment with my coffee and my treat, and we're getting back into it. I am cleaning up after lunch and after afternoon coffee. And then I go right into working on the room, and I work on the room until time to cook dinner, really. I also am watering plants. So every once in a while, I don't do this every single week, but every once in a while, my plants just need a really good soak. And they were looking so sad and just really struggling. So I was like, I have to. Like, I can't keep putting that off. And so I just gave them a big old water and put them in the bathtub so that I could like not really think about where it's draining or how much it's draining and just make sure they're soaked from like top to bottom. But this is the state of the room when I got back to it on Sunday. And I am editing out a lot of what we were doing is there's just so much stuff that we were going through, sorting, organizing, and putting it back together again, kind of. And so it's boring to watch, honestly, but that is the day we had. So I'm just kind of doing all of the moving of the things out of the room so that I can bring the new things into the room. This is where we were, and this is how it ended at the end of the night. And I went straight into cooking dinner. I love cooking. It's like one of the things that I really enjoy the most in like just having a life and being alive. And so it's not something that I felt like I had to do. It definitely felt like something I get to do. However, I had prepped Obes. I was like, we might have to get dinner out. If I work all day on the room again, I probably am going to want to get dinner out. But I was making soup. I lit a candle. I put a video on. It felt nice. Like it felt like a nice way to decompress after kind of like a lot of physical manual labor for like 2.5 days straight. I will say we woke up the next morning and went back into it, making lots of loads downstairs, finishing up the room, cleaning up the house, and our house feels really nice to be in again. I don't regret it. The room feels lovely. The kiddo loves it. So, no regrets on my end, personally. I just, it's just a lot sometimes. I made this white chicken chili for the first time. I'm pretty new to cooking meat at home, but I'm trying to get into it more because I do feel better when I eat meat. And you just put the chicken right in there whole, and then you shred it up. Here's Obi working on his work. I mean, he was just 24/7. If he had any moment, he was working on it. And that is the final room. After it was all done, we put these like fun lights in, and I wanted to see what it looked like with all the lights kind of settled while the soup cooked. But yeah, it's such a vibe. I don't know. Obi and I have been like spending so much time in there. It's been really fun. But the soup, you just put the chicken in, it cooks right in the soup. I cooked up some of that bread and put some good butter on it. It was just a nice, cozy, nourishing meal. I'll try and remember to link the recipe in the description. If I don't remember and you want the recipe, just let me know. I can grab it. But you just take the chicken out fully cooked, shred it up, put it right back in. It was so easy to do, and it took a decent amount of time to cook, but not a lot of hands-on time. I feel like that's the best thing about soup is you get to just put it on and then clean up while it cooks, and that's just so ends the day really easily. But y'all, I was really relieved when all of this was done. I'm not gonna lie. I'm happy to be back into our normal routine, a little less frantic, and I will see you all in the next vlog. Bye.